What's up, everybody? Welcome to more Road to BlizzCon on Khaldor TV. We have another Heroes of the Storm match, and it is of course another best of 3 series. Second qualifier for Road to BlizzCon. There's a lot of money on the line, 25,000 in total, and more importantly, of course, those 2 qualification spots for the Europe final in Prague. We have a game between Roccat, and they are going up against a Greek team today, against Twisted Fuzion, a team that has been around for quite some time. They had some really decent results, but they're not really a top 10 team just yet. So Roccat going into the series at the favorite for sure. Our first map, on the other hand, is one that is a little bit unorthodox. Roccat played it in the past, and Twisted Fuzion is apparently willing to try their luck on Battlefield of Eternity as well. Twisted Fuzion in this case going for a bit of a burst composition with a Tyrande, a Jaina, they have an Uther, so there's quite some stun on their side, and they also add an Azebo as a second damage dealer to their roster. Whereas on the other side, when we're looking at Roccat, we are seeing a Zeratul in their midst. Roccat, therefore, with a Zeratul, trying to play this also with an Anuburak, there's a Vala, they have a lot of potential damage that they can really push on, and with an Abathur they have now the opportunity to soak 2 lanes while the objectives are up on the Immortals, and of course with that they should usually establish a bit of an experience lead. At least that's the idea behind an Abathur on this map. He can also help out a lot on this big map with just split pushing, making sure that he of course gets that copy in if need be. And we're gonna find out now if Roccat is able to take this first map, or if Twisted Fuzion is going to cause a bit of an upset and takes map number 1. So guys, without further ado, Battlefield of Eternity coming up. Map number 1 in the best of 3 series here at the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier. Game on! Team Roccat versus Twisted Fuzion at the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier here in Europe. We have our first map, Battlefield of Eternity, and as you can see to the left side of the map, it is for Roccat. Zocke on Anuburak, we have Sportbilly on Vala, Hazops on Abathur, Chris on Zeratul, and Shadowmar on Rhaegar. To the right side of the map, Twisted Fuzion, their Greek opponent with the Zuls on Jaina, Jumaru on Johanna, Weybridge on Uther, Zafman on Tyrande, and Weezer playing Azebo in this case. I'm Khaldor, with me is Tetcha, and we're going to bring you the coverage here at the Road to BlizzCon European Qualifier with our round of 32 match.
Having a look at the level 1 talents, we can see Anuburak has gone for the Assault Scarab, so starting off with a Scarab build. That Owl, I'm not sure it did see Hasselhobbs, but they may just know that he is in the bot lane for the moment. Zeratul taking Rapid Displacement, and what is that talent from Rhaegar?
I really like it. That's one of the talents that has been popular, I want to say, like maybe a month back, 1.5. And it's one of those things where you can just extra damage in for your melee assassins. It's sometimes played with Illidan, but mostly when you're running a Zeratul together with a Rhaegar. So it's actually pretty cool. On level 1 for Rhaegar these days, there are not really, the talents are not really all that amazing, because the healing ward or the healing totem is not used by many teams anymore, since it's just pretty much useless because of the hit points that it has. It's just too easily killed out. And then you can of course go for the mana reduction on your chain wave, but since you go for Feral Heart most of the time, you can still go for a different talent. And if you run a hero like Zeratul, going for this one in particular with the lightning shield, you can get a lot of damage out for Zeratul and just have more burst damage when he tries to focus a hero down like Tyrande on Azebo.
You also have the potential of, in the middle of a fight, using it onto your Vala, who can drop a huge amount of damage in this way.
Yeah, definitely true. She can definitely also get some more damage in, especially of course when we're going to see one of those auto attack builds. We have at the bot lane again 3 heroes against 4. Up to the top it looks like Zeratul and Zocke are thinking about attacking Weezer, but he's still playing it safe and sound on his Hearthstone card. Nobody's going to be able to jump on him. Abathur was trying to help out here, and for Abathur, one of his biggest jobs in this game is of course again going to be the soaking of experience. Hazops is going to try to soak experience from 2 lanes while the rest of the team is trying to get the Immortal.
Yeah, but Twisted Fuzion already roaming up to the Roccat Immortal, and they're going to try and take that down with 3 members. Azebo is above them, but has not yet come down as he has to try and get past Zeratul.
Yeah, one of the things that you usually try with an Abathur is to just keep him at one of the lanes. He soaks experience with this body, he can soak the second lane with the symbiote, and then you defend your own Immortal. But of course, the opponent knows that, so they are going to try and chase Abathur down, or at least keep the heartbeat on the lane so that they don't miss out on any experience either. And that then enters or changes the entire dynamic that we're seeing in the middle of the map, where we right now have a focus on the Immortal, and they're trying to take down Tyrande. Condemn already used, zoning them away, but Sportbilly jumped in and took the kill. Tyrande down, but Vala is dropping too.
We're also seeing Soccer being dropped low, has to use his Burrow Charge to get out. Chris now chasing onto the Jada, trying to finish him off, but has to blink away. Soccer and Shadow Bear dealing a little bit of damage while the enemy team was distracted by Zeratul, enough to half health the Immortal.
Now we have Chris still on the Zeratul, as you already mentioned. It's one of his most played heroes. Another hero that he actually plays a lot is Abathur. But in this case, since they're running Abathur and Zeratul, and he is the dedicated Zeratul player for Team Roccat, he had to use the melee assassin, and he's currently doing a pretty decent job on him. Experience-wise, both of the teams are still on even footing. Chris is taking down the wave, and they can go straight into the middle again. There's the lockdown against Vala, though, and for the second time in the game, the ranged assassin is annihilated.
Yeah, Soccer throwing out as many stuns as he can right now, trying to hold back Twisted Fuzion with the help of Shadow Bear. Chris soaking the lane, Abathur soaking the top lane, but without Valor, they are really lacking damage. They need to deal with this, but with Chris coming up, they may try and go for a trap.
Yeah, they are already moving towards the right side again, where Chris is angling around the debris here, gets the singularity spike in and puts some pressure onto Jaina, but in this case they could not deliver too much damage, so they're waiting. Of course, Vala is back to business now. Sport Billy needs to try and get his attacks in. He has his arrows ready, and he could use those at any point in time. Up to the top lane, Hazops is soaking experience, but to the bottom lane, it is Johanna with Night Take Spawn on level 1, pushing in against the towers, and that is a ton of experience dropping for Twisted Fuzion.
Zeratul able to blink out there, took a lot of damage. We're seeing Soccer sink onto Tyrande in the form of Zapham. He has to Burrow Charge out though, as he was taking huge damage from Jaina and the Nazebo. Johanna going quite deep here, but Shadowmare will be able to chase it out using his own abilities, his own level 1 talent to just deal some counter damage.
Considering how well Roccat did with the first half health on the Immortal, they actually fell behind a bit now. They still get the Immortal in the end. Oh, they might get a kill against Zuffman, but the heal is there. Waybridge helping out Tyrande. Very well done here. So they get the Immortal, but it's only at half shield, so not too bad, but it's even a slight level lead that we're seeing at this point for Twisted Fuzion. Well, it's going to be negated in a second, but it's kind of interesting to note that they are not behind in experience, even though Abathur was doing his best to soak 2 of the lanes.
Yeah, Johanna did a very good job soaking those lanes as well. And we're now going to see Team Roccat pushing in the top lane with everyone they have, except for Abathur, whose body shall remain in the bottom lane, but Johanna is still counter-pushing it.
Yeah, Johanna's at the bottom lane. We have Frost Armor taken on level 7 as a direct counter to Zeratul, so Jaina is going to be one of the heroes that Zeratul is most likely not going to focus on later in the game. He's probably going to go for Nazebo and Tyrande instead, since that reduction on against the auto attacks and also, of course, the chill that you receive can be quite annoying, especially when Jaina keeps her cone of cooldown and then starts to use that. It's immediately dangerous when you hit level 16 and go for the extra damage or the roots. But here is a Khaldor camp that is being captured, and Roccat turns it around with a kill against Uther.
Beautiful Burrow Charge by Soccer, takes the damage from Blizzard Waves though, and as such is going to have to leave. The Audi melts him though, but no one is going to be fast enough to catch up with him there.
Yeah, another shield glare from Jumaro forces Chris back in this case. We're seeing on level 7, by the way, Sin's Expose taken, so not going for battle momentum or conviction, which are very popular talents on Johanna for level 7. Talking about the level 7 talents that we're seeing for Roccat, it's a full Beetle build that we're seeing for Anubarak here, and we also have now Needle Spine taken for Abathur for the extra damage during those fights. The Owl reveals Sport Billy's attempt to take the Khaldor camp at the bot lane, and Jumaro is trying to move in to contest it.
Yeah, and she will be able to tank Soccer and Sport Belly for a while, just in time for her team to arrive. Waybridge going to be able to heal up Johanna, and as such, they will take the camp and get the Valor.
Really well done here. Get a kill and the camp. That was perfect play here from them. It's 3 kills versus 2 kills in this game, and we have both of the teams on level 9, so no big advantage for either side. But at the bot lane, there's a massive push coming in now from the Greek team. Twisted Fuzion is trying to put the pressure on.
Yeah, that Tehran division is actually really helping Twisted Fuzion at the moment. Doing a really good job with it. And I guess it works. This map is quite small. There's only a couple places you can really throw it, and you're likely to find at least someone.
Yeah, also notable, one of the things I don't feel we have really talked about yet is the level 1 talent for Uther. He went into block, and the reason is simple. Normally you go into Conjurer's Pursuit, but he didn't really feel like he would get a lot of use out of it, since this is a map where you get very few very few regeneration globes, so all these regeneration globe talents like Conjurer's Pursuit and Regeneration Master are a bit useless on this map in particular. So he went for block, since reach is also not something that he necessarily has to rely upon to keep, let's say, a melee assassin like Illidan that jumps in and goes deep alive. So a great talent choice here for him, just adjusting to the map and the special needs that Uther has here.
Zeratul sneaking around, looking for opportunity, but Soccer has to be cleansed out of there. Drops his Web Blast onto someone. The Void Prism comes out as well. We're seeing Hasselhoff and Chris trying to take down the Nazebo there, and they get him. And a beautiful knockup by Soccer.
Nazebo already down, but Vala is getting rather low as well, and Sport Billy dropped by the punish on Johanna. A second kill coming in as Tyrande is dropping. Hazu Ops is losing his Abathur copy here, but if you of course go for the copy, then you can just do so much damage in this case. We have therefore no monstrosity taken in this game. A slight lead right now for Team Rocket in experience. They're about to drop a tower here at the bot lane as well as those minions move in. It was a perfect time for them to get that Bruiser camp. The timings on this map here are so important for the Bruiser camp in particular, since that Shaman is just spawning Fellhounds over and over again, summons them and can basically take down an entire fort if he's not contested.
Yeah, so they are luckily able to finish that one off. Chris getting stunned up by Waybridge, but that will not stop Roccat taking this camp. However, the arrival of literally everyone will at least delay it.
Yeah, that Immortal is gonna fall in a few seconds though. And 4 kills against 4, I mean, when you look at the kill count, there's not really a big difference between the two teams. It's also not such a big difference when we're looking at experience, but having that Immortal again fighting for them is a big issue right now, because this is something that Rocket can use to get a good structure kill in the game now.
Zeratul was able to finish off that Immortal in the background, and as such got hunted for a little bit by the entirety of Twisted Fuzion, but was able to get out. And now we're going to see a split push tactic here. The rest of Roccat all heading to the top lane to push that down and maybe try and grab at the fort there, while the Immortal keeps the entirety of Twisted Fuzion busy in the bot lane.
It's a really popular concept on this map that you try and use the opposite lane to put on additional pressure, and you put your opponent in a very awkward spot where they have to choose which lane they want to lose. And as you can see, the fort here has been taken out. Therefore we have a solid experience lead now for Team Rocket, and they will hit that level 13 talent a lot faster than their opponents. So Twisted Fuzion is starting to fall a bit behind and have to be quite careful about this now. The Owl of course is spotting out everything, but up at the top lane the Khaldor camp has been taken. Abathur is still checking out what's going on down here, even put a few mines over there at the smoke screen so that he knows exactly when the Khaldor camp is going to be taken by the opponent's team. And there is already a rotation underway for Twisted Fuzion.
Yeah, so the mine will absolutely spot this beautiful placement by Abathur, who is now tunneled up to the top lane to soak XP. We can see though Roccat choosing not to contest it, instead are going to steal the fallen camps of Team Twisted Fuzion.
A really smart move. They know that the Khaldor camp is attacked, they know that the team is split, they have the level 13 talent, so they just move on to the Bruiser camp. Even if they are contested here, they have the advantage in the fight, but they know that it's very unlikely since the entire team was at the bot lane trying to take this mercenary camp, and that was a very good trade for Rocket now.
Yeah, and now they're just going to push this bot lane, and they're going to be able to get this fort, and that's another trade. There's like, well, have some mercenaries. Only this time Twisted Fuzion chose just a normal set of mercenaries, a normal set of fallen, in exchange for a fort and a tower.
Both of the teams are on level 13 and they're already trying to use it. Nice engage with the Blessed Shield. They get the lockdown against Rhaegar, and the heal that he was trying to use came a bit too late, but Tyrande is paying the price. She dies too, and the Web Blast, oh, it's over. There's the kill against Jaina. The damage dealer is already down, but Soccer is now dying as well.
That is a 2 for 2 by both teams. Hasselhoff on the Zeratul clone did a very good job in this fight, dropping a very large amount of damage. And now they're going to be starting on this Immortal. But so are Twisted Fuzion, just a little bit behind.
Double ice block for Twisted Fuzion, double spell shield on the side of Rocket. So a lot of passive talents now on 13 with an added shrink ray for Uther so that he can control the movements of Zeratul a bit better in these fights. The overflowing light on Tyrande should help a lot as well. And this time it is again the Red Immortal that is faster at half HP. So after that they are just switching positions on the map now. We have Abathur starting to push the top lane even more, and he is going to put a lot of pressure on those two towers, but in the middle of the map, that's where it's really going to be at now, because this is going to be another battle for the Immortals.
Yeah, the Immortal is having to be defended by Roccat as they did ditch their own one. Or ditch the one, sorry, that they were trying to kill in exchange for that mercenary camp. So now they need to focus on defending first, because otherwise Twisted Fuzion will get an Immortal. The strafe from Sport, but he able to zone out for a bit, but doesn't actually do that much damage.
Yeah, zoned them out, but didn't really do too much. And now it's the Immortal taken out there. They are trying to go for a kill as well. Water Elemental is there to slow them down, but Sport Billy got healed with an Ancestral Healing in the last second. Good job by Shadowmar. They're moving in again for this one, trying to protect it, of course, up at the top lane. That's where we're going to see it spawn. And Abathur is immediately moving out of there, just burrows away, because he knows that trouble is brewing. If he stays too long, then he is going to get dropped.
Yeah, and we can see Twisted Fuzion all moving up here to push this, except for Nazeebo, who is in the bot lane, just de-pushing what Abathur has been busy with most of this time.
It's also one of the reasons why we don't see that split push that we've been talking about earlier, where you leave the Immortal on one lane and you move with the rest of your team to the other, because the problem that we are seeing for Twisted Fuzion is that that lane is so far pushed in that they can't really attack it. The attack up here, on the other hand, is about to drop two heroes, and Jaina and Tyrande both die at the same time.
Waybridge trying to sneak away in the background there after coming out of his... Wow, he's able to turn around and kill Zeratul there. But after coming out of that web blast, he's going to divine shield himself. Shrink Ray Shadowmare, he is on the run. He's popped basically everything he has. There's the slow. Heals himself again. Does have his stun up. Does have another Radiance. Gets another heal. Knock up the cleanse. And he gets out.
No way! What a badass! Alright, badass Uther detected. What I loved is that Block saved him. Block was really the talent that saved him in this fight, so that was incredible. You could see how those last few auto attacks got blocked by the level 1 talent here. Uther takes down a Zeratul and gets away from the rest of Team Roccat. Quite well played here. That was a good one. That was a really nice play from Waybridge.
Yeah, superb. Absolutely superb. And as such, he's already back to full health, back to full mana, and has rejoined his team as they go for a push in the bot lane.
Yeah, and we have 16 versus 16. Both of the teams are closing in on level 17 now. The Ranger Owl is going to help a lot. Abathur is killed. The Slug is down. Ah, that was unfortunate positioning here for Hazuops, and especially with Tyrande, of course, hitting that extra damage now thanks to the Ranger talent level 16. Talking about damage, we actually have a lot more than that on the map now. We have also the Leaping Spiders, and we have the Blessed Hammer for Johanna, so she's going to get a lot more AoE damage in those fights as well, with the Numbing Blast on Jaina, making the life of Zeratul even more difficult.
Yeah, if he blinks in, there's a good chance he could just get caught down with a Numbing Blast and then double stunned by Uther, thanks to that Benediction talent.
Yeah, of course, one of the things is that with the Frost Armor, if Zeratul jumps in and actually attacks Jaina, if he makes that mistake, he's going to be chilled immediately, and that means a Cone of Cold is going to lock him down, so he needs to be super careful and focus his attention more on Nazeebo and also, of course, Tyrande. Nazeebo, by now, with the Ice Block, has quite some survivability, so his target is probably going to be Tyrande.
Yeah, he can just drop some good... Nazeebo can just drop some very good damage now and stay alive from when Roccat goes in for that hard engage. Roccat, just starting on the Immortal, they do get it to half health first, but they have to wait for that switch around. That gives Twisted Fuzion a chance to regroup and work out where they want to fight from, and it looks like they want to defend their Immortal first.
Yeah, the Immortal are moving over now. We have the team fight about to start. Teams are positioning themselves now. We still have the top lane pushed, and in this case it is actually another fort that falls. Great timing here for that Bruiser camp. We've been talking about it earlier, and now we see it in action. The Bruiser camp is pushing this lane in even harder, and they have to use Zeratul to de-push it, and that allows now Team Twisted Fuzion to move in against the Immortal of Roccat.
Zeratul is back though, and there is a clone of him. He's moving into the backline, wants to try and catch someone. Roccat does not jump on anyone. The Web Blast is already down though. There's the Void Prism, but everyone manages to get into that Void Prism. Alizul somehow managing to outblock as well.
The Web Blast is gone. Ancestral Healing, but Roccat is dropped by the Blizzard. Great play, and they are also taking down the copy of Abathur.
And Twisted Fuzion looking really good here. Chris is still alive. That Tyrande is very low and looking very delicious. So he is just going to be looking for an opportunity to maybe try and pick that off. But instead, it's just attacking the enemy Immortal.
Yeah, Chris was trying to make sure that a few more hit points are dropped off the Immortal of the opponent, and therefore they have a very small shield that they can now use with the Immortal. And it's also, of course, the time period when he's going to use his range attack over the melee attack. Another camp taken, and this happens to be another Bruiser camp. So once again, that Shaman is going to drop those Fellhounds, and if he summons those, that's a lot of potential pressure over time, especially since it's the same lane where the Immortal is now moving in.
Yeah, the Immortal pushing it down. We do see Chris once again hanging around in the background, hanging around in the bushes, looking for an opportunity to go in and get a lot of damage off.
And the Shaman is still summoning his Fellhounds, so the Immortal is at the front line, Chris in the back, trying to look for a target that he could attack here, but this keep is gonna fall. Roccat is in trouble.
Yeah, that is the first keep of game, in fact, going over to Twisted Fuzion. They are now just going to back up away from this and move up to de-push their top lane because Abathur has been cheeky.
Yeah, Abathur is doing Abathur things now. Hazorps needs to get out of there, and that's exactly what he does. So the Slug burrows away. He knows exactly that there's a big rotation coming his way now. The level 20 talent is going to drop any second. There it is for Twisted Fuzion. They are ahead. 9 kills versus 9. They are level ahead, and they already took down the first keep. Great play by them thus far. The last few teams fights, they looked very dominant. Especially the way that they reacted to Zerathul's pressure with Void Prison was great, and they always kept their heroes alive, and in particular, they kept Jaina alive so that she could dish out all that damage during the fights and take down targets like an Uberak.
Bolt of the Storm onto Jaina and Nazebo, keeping them alive very nicely here. Indestructible on the Johanna, Storm Shield on the Tyrande, and Uther has yet to pick, but it's more than likely going to be Redemption.
Yeah, if you wait this long, then Redemption is usually a weapon of choice. And to the top lane, the wall has now been dropped as well. Abathur is still at the bot lane, and we have that Khaldor camp. So at some point, Twisted Fuzion will have to back off. Either they commit and try to take down the keep here, or they go back and defend, because they cannot just prolong this fight any longer if they want to make sure that they don't lose their structures at the bot lane.
So that's exactly what we're going to see. Actually, no, we're going to see a pause quickly. But yeah, they're going to head down to the bot lane, just try and de-push that as much as possible. And Twisted Fuzion's still looking quite good, but Roccat, about to hit their level 20s, will be able to start contesting a lot, and it will be in time for the next set of Immortals.
Yeah, and the Immortals should be ready in just a bit, as you already mentioned. So at the bot lane, this camp is going to de-push in quite a bit. I mean, this shouldn't really be a big problem for them. They're going to lose the tower, maybe 2, but the keep should be fine, and that is the most important part. Looking into the middle here now, though, we have the rotation starting on the side of Twisted Fuzion, so they're going to de-push the bot lane, then they will have to move into the middle, try to make sure that they are catching the next set of Immortals. Important is also that the camp is going to spawn in 8 seconds. So they will take this one before the Immortals come into play. They can't take the one to the left side since there's still 2 minutes on the countdown. When we're looking at Roccat, though, talking a bit about the builds that they have and also the level 20 talents, Abathur in this case could very well go for Hive Mind again, and that is a strong talent if you're using a hero like Zerathul and also an Uberak then.
Yeah, the Hive Mind could be great on those, especially seeing as you're giving that Adrenal Overload, giving that extra attack speed, and with Rhaegar giving extra attack damage to one of them, he can just throw it on whichever one he thinks is best in the particular fight, as opposed to committing at the start of a fight.
Jaina was looking for Abathur. They de-push the lane now and also go for that Bruiser camp that we've been talking about. The Immortals are about to spawn, so it's a perfect timing again for this camp to be taken. And the top lane is the one that will be pushed. It's also the one that still has that keep. So it's very exposed, and Roccat will have to react to it. Probably going to try and do that when the Immortals at half health and starts to switch position. But for now, it's a big fight again in the middle of the map.
And once again, we do see Roccat on the defensive here. Clones already come in. Hasselhoff's getting locked down, though, and also locking down Sport Billy here. Ancestral will keep him alive, though. Jada drop low, but Icebox to save herself.
Yeah, says Ice Block saves herself for now. We have a Divine Shield, in this case, on Johanna. Johanna rather low, though, and Indestructible already proc, but they go for the snipe against Zocca and take an Uberak down.
Sport Billy getting locked up. There is the Shrink Ray to try and hold him still. Zappa will have his stun in a second, but Sport Billy bolting away gets himself out of range. And now Twisted Fuzion will move up and they are looking very good into this final Immortal fight.
I don't really like the focus on Roccat against Jaina. I get the impulse. She is the best damage dealer and she's still one of those squishies that you want to take out. The problem is that she has frost armor on level 7 and she also has the ice block on 13. So it just looks to me like other targets might be a bit more rewarding. Trying, for example, to burst down that Tyrande first, or even going for an Azebo instead. He has an ice block too, but he doesn't have that frost armor that Jaina has in addition to that. So Jaina, she is a priority target currently for Roccat, and she's just surviving every single fight. So for now, Roccat is trying to drop her, but every time they fail, they expose themselves for way too long, and Chris is again trying to go for Jaina.
Yeah, and Jaina, instead of blinking away this time, goes for an aggressive blink to try and take down Sportbilly there. Not able to get him, but now he has no defense. He's also using his Ice Block, and Chris able to take him down this time, but is being attacked himself, able to rewind and blink himself out of there though.
Ancestral Healing hitting quite well here, so great move on the side of Roccat. This time they got Jaina. It took a lot of tries and they dropped a lot for it, but they finally take her down, and that's a lot of the damage now gone with another pause on Azul's. He is, by the way, playing Jaina, so he might have a couple of issues here. He was already saying earlier that he had problems with lag and apologizes for it now. We don't really have a fight happening just yet, but maybe that playing
dead,
in a role.
though. Does it really matter if he's lacking for at least this 48 seconds?
Probably not. The question is just, is it really him that lags, or did he just pause? It's probably him.
Okay.
But if that's one of the reasons why Jaina died here, I mean, of course there was so much pressure that I guess Jaina would have died eventually, with especially Zeratul jumping in over and over again. Frost armor, of course, is quite nice, but he only gets you thus far. I mean, it only triggers every 8 seconds, so with all the attacks coming in from Chris, it's really tricky to survive with Ice Block being on cooldown, with your Frost armor also being in cooldown, and your Bolt of the Storm probably being cooldown as well. There's only so much you can do.
Sokka with the instant web blast onto Tyrande there, who's trying to get out. The Divine Shield trying to keep her alive, but we see the Hasselhoff Zeratul clone able to take down the Tyrande there. Chris needs to get out of that circle, does get stunned and takes quite a bit of damage, but Shadowmare will keep him safe.
Yeah, they go now straight for the kill against the Immortal, and to be honest with you, right now it looks like they might be able to get it. We're 22 minutes, 23 minutes into the game. The shield is going to be rather low if they get the Immortal here, because the hit points on their own Immortal have been dropped previously already. Here comes Waybridge again, but they need to be careful. It's a 5 versus 3. I'm not quite sure if they should really fight there, but they get the kill against Rhaegar. Oh my god, the Immortal helping out with a stun. That was a great kill by them, and they're trying to get now Sokka too.
Sokka running away. He has been Shrink Ray, does get demounted. They're trying to give chase. We can see Jumaro trying to move around to the other side. In comes Alazul with the roots there, and they're able to take down Sokka, and that's a 2-for-1, as they did lose Tyrande earlier. And the Immortal, though, did spawn from Roccat, so we're going to have to see Twisted Fuzion deal with that.
Pretty incredible aggression. I mean, they were 3 heroes and decided to go in against 5 because they knew that their own Immortal would help them out with those stuns, with the stun circles there. And they dropped 2 targets. So even though Roccat gets the Immortal, they won't be able to build up that pressure that you usually expect from an objective this late into the game.
Yeah, so now we're just going to see Twisted Fuzion. They will take that down before it even gets a tower. Roccat just using this time to take their own mercenary camp. The Owl will spot this, but Twisted Fuzion still a bit busy clearing up minion waves here. And Roccat will get this in time. Chris actually having to blink away there as Waybridge was coming in, and Waybridge does have a bit of a history with this particular Zeratul.
Yeah, if I was Zeratul, this would be the one Uther that I'm really scared of. Waybridge, like, we need a badass Zeratul skin for him. Something like a Batman skin or something. You don't really expect it. He's like Alfred from Batman. He's like a real badass, and he just like takes you down when you don't expect it. He looks innocent, but yeah, he is very, very nasty.
Yeah, Waybridge.
Well, over here we have now another camp taken as Tedja is cutting out. So that temp, this is actually pretty smart here on the side of Roccat. And this is something that definitely wasn't expected by Twisted Fuzion. They nearly stole the camp away to the left side, but they just barely did make it in time. And they just not expected Roccat to move over and steal the Bruiser camp here. So yeah, nice move by Roccat, getting both of the camps. It's not so much that they expected this to do a lot of damage, but they take it away from their opponent, and now Twisted Fuzion, as the Immortals are being announced again, cannot use the Bruiser camp to pressure the top lane and top lane keep again.
Yeah, there's not much they can do about this for the moment, so both teams just pushing each individual lane. And Roccat, they really want to get a keep at some point. They've just been trying for the last few minutes, whereas Twisted Fuzion, they're looking to try and get their second tier, and this will force Roccat to react.
Yeah, but it's also a big commitment here. They might overextend a bit too much with this move. Here comes the Web Blast, and they're moving in. The kill against Tyrande. Starfall is out, but a bit too late. There's also a Void Prison, and the damage against the two Zeratul. The copy about to die. Soccer is also very low and gets Shrink Rate.
They're trying to get him down. There's the condemn, and that takes him down. And this is what we were talking about earlier for Roccat. Instead of going for the Jada, focus down someone else like the Tyrande, and they get her, but unfortunately, they do lose Soccer and the Zeratul clone for it in the process.
It's still a very risky play on the side of Twisted Fuzion. They are ahead in the game, so they shouldn't be the ones that are really forced to make a play here, and they overextended a tiny bit. They allowed Roccat to move in, and that insta-kill against Tyrande, that could have been a big problem. As is, though, they are in a 4 versus 4 situation, and both of the teams are trying to go for the burst damage against the opponent's Immortal. But guess what? Roccat with the heroes that we see here, especially, of course, Sport Below and Nadvala, and Zeratul played by Chris, they are much, much faster.
Yeah, they all run back for the Fountain as well, so they are more than prepared for this next fight, making sure they're all full on mana and ready to fight. We're seeing Shadowbear taking a bit of damage, but the Fountain does stack up healing even if you're at full health. So the Fountain, the remaining healing, will just heal him back to full.
Now the teams are actually in the mid lane, just sitting around, trying to wait for an opportunity to engage. We have Zeratul up at the top, looking for a chance to jump on any of these heroes. And they're starting to poke a bit. Weezer, of course, has that 16 Leaping Spiders talent, and he is putting it to full use. Wave Bridge, they're dodging the stuns. Actually, in this case, he doesn't get Web Blasted. No healer in this case for Twisted Fuzion. The double Zeratul moving in once again. Already an Ancestral healing against Soccer, but I think a bit too early. He didn't really need it at this point, and they got that in. Now it's in cooldown, and they're trying to turn around against him, but there's the Void Prison to save, for now at least, the Nubarak, but Twisted Fuzion doesn't lose a single hero to the attack.
Okay, gonna not get stunned up, actually. Very clutch Spiral Charge there, able to keep himself alive. Chris, looking for his opportunity still, looking for his angle of engagement. Jaina has taken a little bit of damage, but does have her Ice Block up and was able to bolt out.
Divine Shield and Starfall are still off cooldown. Starfall coming into play now. Divine Shield can still be used. Soccer is extremely low. Everybody is in cooldown on their heroic abilities inside of Roccat except for Abathur. This is getting really tricky for them. Roccat is in trouble here.
Chris able to blink away from that stun, but still gets pulled into the Condemn and has to reposition again. Soccer gets the Web Blast off. This time it is onto the Zebo, but he'll be killed out of that very quickly. The strafe comes in, it's interrupted, there's the stun onto Rhaegar, he goes down. Chris may be a bit too deep here, but able to blink away. The Gargantuan not having any of it though, it actually gives chase.
2 Web Blasts in one fight. That battle has been going on for a long time, and it doesn't stop. The Immortal finally goes down, and so does Soccer, or does he? He survives for now. They keep him alive. They kill Tyrande, but Soccer is now dead as well, and that kill against Vala is securing themselves a 4 versus 2 situation with only Zeratul. And oh, that was such a bad idea, Azuls. Why would you stay there? Zeratul and Abathur are still alive. It's not a good move to just like move away from the rest of your team and try to be back.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate, and as such, that turned from a 3-for-1 into a 3-for-2. So now, Twisted Fuzion can't really push with such aggression as they could have before.
That could have been game. That could have potentially been game. I mean, it could still be, but with Jaina out, that was a really important kill here by Hazorps and Chris, and a bit unfortunate play by Azuls, but this Immortal went through keep number 2 already and is now starting to move in against the core, and there's still 2 heroes down for Team Roccat.
Yeah, they're going to try and push in here. There's the Void Prism onto Uber, though, while they try and take down Weezer, but Weezer protects himself. Shadowbear has to Ancestral himself. Chris being dropped a bit low by Gary, but they are now able to focus the Immortal and Gary.
That Immortal damage! It's insane! He drops it down to 38%. Wow! Hitting like a truck, and now Roccat, of course, very vulnerable to backdoor attempts too.
Yep, 38% left on that core. Twisted Fuzion taking their own mercenary camps, and where is Soccer going? He looks like he wants to contest this, but he's going to be a bit too late.
Yeah, Zoke is definitely too late to contest this one. And now another lane is pushing. Just look at that mini-map. Both of the lanes pushing in so hard against them.
Roccat going in.
Ops is in the middle and he doesn't really know what to do there. He's trying to defend, but he also has to help out his team.
Okay. Backing up there, has yet to use his Web Blast. Could try and lock down someone else. They were going to go in here, but instead are just zoning Twisted Fuzion while Abathur tries to defend here. And they look for something else they can do. Looks like they're going to try that Impaler camp in the bot lane.
The only thing that Twisted Fuzion has to do right now is be patient. That's the only thing that they have to do. Fight for the next Immortal, draw the fight out, don't commit, and let those two lanes push and put Roccat into a lost position. But they are playing aggressive instead.
Sport Billy has been trick prayed. There's the Starfall. Hasselhoff comes in with the copy, but the damage is huge, and that is GG.
Okay.
And Fusion having none of this. Let's wait an Immortal crap.
Not going for the safe option here. They go for the kill, and they take the game, and therefore the 1-0 lead in the series. Not quite expected, but Twisted Fuzion, they take the game. Roccat going into the series as the favorite, and now they are down one map. The Greek team doing a great job here. Twisted Fuzion able to win it, and one of the big problems that Roccat had was taking down that Jaina. They were always trying to go for her, and she escaped over and over again. That Frost Armor on level 7 helping her a lot. So Roccat all of a sudden finds themselves only one map short for being eliminated out of the second qualifier. We are currently looking at game number 2. Khaldor is going to be a map, so a very standard map compared to what we saw in the first game here. And it's a bit of a shift when we're looking at the lineups for the two teams, because this time it's Zeratul being played on the side of Twisted Fuzion together with an Uther for potential Divine Shield and also a Muradin. As damage, it is Vala and again the Nazeebo. And then if you just like switch roles again and you look at the lineup of Roccat, what do you see? First thing is that Jaina is now being picked by them. They also have a Zagara, so it's again this setup with a potential more into Blizzard. The Water Elemental can also lock them down. Roccat, of course, they have to bring the A game now, because at this point they have to win 2 maps in a row if they want to advance to the next round of the qualifier. So guys, let's jump right into it and see if Twisted Fuzion can cause the upset and really take the second map now as well, or if Roccat pulls it together and takes map number 2, Cursed Hollow. Well boys, game number 2 is starting, and we have a 1-0 lead in this best of 3 series for Twisted Fuzion, as you can see on the scoreboard. Not really what Roccat expected heading into this series. The second map is Cursed Hollow, and to the left side of the map we're currently seeing the German team. It is Zocke on Tyrael for Roccat, Hazops on Zagara, Sport Billy on Johanna, Chris on Jaina, and Malfurion is played by Shadowmar. To the right side of the map, as you can see, we have now Twisted Fuzion, the Greek team, with the Zuls on Vala, Zafman on Zeratul, Waybridge, the badass Uther, and Jumaru on Muradin, with Weezer on Nazeebo for the team. And coverage of this game is, of course, brought to you once again by myself and Tetcha.
So, having a look at the level 1 talents, we can see Tyrael starting off with a bit more of a sustainy build with that regen master coming in on level 1. Zeratul going with the seasoned marksman.
Yeah, seasoned marksman taken for him. The drafts that we have seen here, we have both of the teams heading now, or at least, well, we have on the side of the Greek team only one tank, whereas we are seeing a Jaina and a Tyrael for Team Roccat. It was a bit surprising to us to see that Nazeebo was picked as the last hero for the Greek team, because Tyrande or a second warrior would have been a great fit for them, and all of those, or both of them, would have had great synergy with what they're currently trying to use here. Nazeebo, of course, can be very strong, especially when he's played with some other heroes, but in this case he has like this damage over time that can be negated by heroes like Tyrael and also Malfurion quite easily over the match. So pretty curious to see how that's going to work now for the Greek team. I'm very excited for this one, especially of course since it's this time them using that Zeratul.
Yeah, Zafman coming in here behind Sport Billy. They're going to try and do some damage to him. At least Uther already dead in the top lane, sorry, thanks to this tri-lane. Johanna able to just walk away from this gank in the mid lane.
It's just so much damage that comes out from Jaina, and if you get caught out of position once, then you are in trouble, and you of course know that too then. The one thing that's also very important to note here is that Zeratul did not go for any kind of rapid displacement talent or something on level 1. The reason why Chris did that in the last game game where he was playing Zeratul was simply that it's a horrible map if you want to go for stacks of any kind, being it Seasoned Marksman or Regeneration Master or of course Conjurer's Pursuit. And in this case now, since this is more of a normal map, Zafman here with the Zeratul went for Seasoned Marksman. We're going to keep tabs on that over the duration of the game. The team's currently with a quick pause here, but that gives us a chance to talk a bit about the builds and also of course about what's going on the lanes.
Yep, so the lanes currently, Johanna has been left completely alone here, but the minions have yet to arrive, so it could be very easily for Muradin to head back down and soak that up as quick as possible. Whereas in the bot lane, Tyrael is fighting against the Nazebo. He's shielding the minions whenever possible to try and prevent damage and prevent the lane from hard pushing.
Up here at the top, Hazorps eating some damage. Zafman moved in with a Singularity Spike and put pressure onto Hazorps. He went for the level 1 talent Reconstitution, so he's going to have increased regeneration on creep. Needs to put down some of those creep tumors if he really wants to make use of it. We have also now in level 4 the Amplified Healing taken for Tyrael and Snowstorm. I really like Snowstorm on Jaina. Arcane Intellect is still sometimes chosen, but considering that it was such a big talent at some point that every single Jaina player went into, I really like that we see this shift into Snowstorm now, because I feel it just makes it way easier for her to get her big damage in during those team fights.
Yeah, it is beautiful, especially around some of these. This map has a lot of corridors. You can drop a good Blizzard into that with Snowstorm and you completely zone your opponents, so that can be a really nice talent to have. We're going to see a B out of 2 members of Twisted Fuzion here, and as such, it's very unlikely that they're going to contest this tribute. Jaina already capping it. Weezer heading in, will get zoned by Soccer, and that is tribute number 1, going over to Roccat.
Was a really good job by Soccer, making sure that Weezer couldn't go in. Of course, Nazib was thinking about just throwing his spiders in and trying to force a cancel, and if he gets that, then the rest of the team can rotate and make sure that they can actually fight for it. But was good zoning from Soccer, and therefore the first tribute now in the hands of Roccat. The German team at this point is also heading in an experience lead. They have Sport Billy in the mid lane now defending against the camp. Up at the top lane though, there is a lot of pressure play from the side of the Greek team, trying to protect this wall, which got pretty wrecked earlier from the tri lane that we saw.
Yeah, so that wall needs any protection it can get. Whereas Muradin doing a good job, despite being against Sport Billy, one of the best lane pushers. Muradin's been doing a very good job of keeping this lane pushed up.
We have the second tribute now coming into the game, and therefore both of the teams will probably try and fight for this one. The issue for Twisted Fuzion is that Roccat is going to hit their level 7 any second now. That might just be that window that they need to capture the tribute or force some pressure on the opponents. There's not even a rotation from Nazebo. We have already Tyrael on the way, and up here there's already 3 heroes putting the damage in. Waybridge is in a lot of trouble and might actually fall. Oh, what? Waybridge survives, but Zagara dies.
Waybridge goes back in, manages to heal his teammate here. Can Jumaro get out? Manages to stun up Tyrael. He gets out. Waybridge on point again.
You got to be kidding me. I mean, are you serious? They both get away. All 3 of them actually super low. Tyrael was trying to go in. Nazebo is killed, though he was split from the rest of the team, and that should drop the tribute into the hands of Roccat. But what a move on the side of Waybridge again. Like, he's like that math genius, you know, that calculates his hit points and the potential damage of his opponent, like, perfectly, and does that all at the same time, then knows exactly when to move away. You could also say it's sheer luck, but my explanation, the first one, sounds way cooler, I think.
When luck starts becoming consistent, it's skill.
Exactly, when luck becomes a habit. Exactly, I remember that quote. Talking talents, by the way, we have on level 7, again, Frost Armor taken. It's basically the anti-Zeratul talent. We saw it in the last game, you see it in this one. If you are playing against a Zeratul or against a melee assassin that you think is going to go for you, then Frost Armor is a great choice.
Yeah, the Frost Armor will keep Jaina fairly well protected, whereas Zagara, going for that rapid incubation, is just going to try and out-sustain any damage that's being dealt to her with that healing. And it does actually heal very quickly and can out-heal a lot of heroes' actual damage.
Weezer, Azules, and Zafman are taking the boss at the top, but at the bot lane, of course, we saw the same thing happen now for Team Roccat. They were going straight in for a kill on the boss on their own, and therefore we have 2 bosses pushing the map. With both of the teams aiming now for level 10, and Roccat is about to hit that level, so then they could take down a keep, or at least a fort now. Keep would be a bit early, I suppose, but they could definitely take one of the forts down, and they are already getting busy at the bot lane.
Level 10 has been hit by Roccat, and that's going to basically allow him to get this fort for free. as there's nothing that Twisted Fuzion can do to defend this. We see the talents we all expected: Tranquility, Water Elemental, Blessed Shield, and the Devouring Maw. Tyrael yet to pick, but both are very viable in this particular composition. But they are going for like more sustainy, so maybe.
I actually have to say that Tyrael players these days, they consider themselves to be a bit mysterious. They find themselves in this really cool spot where both of their heroic abilities are viable, so they always wait a bit. They know that the opponent is checking what they take with a quick tap every now and then, and they're like, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna be cool here, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna keep them guessing. And it is Judgment, so no Sanctification, they choose Judgment. And considering the heroes that we have on the other side, I kinda like that. I like Sanctification a lot when you have bursty mage heroes. That's when I feel you get the most out of the talent, because oftentimes you don't get the full duration off. But for now, it's Judgment, not Sanctification. And we also have the level 10s ready for the Greek team, with Gary the Gargantuan, Avatar, Divine Shield, the Void Prison, and Vala heading into Strafe.
And with this Divine Shield and the Cleanse from Uther, this could be the issue with Tyrael taking Judgment, so it's all going to be about timing from Soccer here. Poor Billy. Already getting a lot of slow and a lot of damage. That Blizzard is beautiful. On Shimmerer, he's able to get out, but now we're seeing Valor getting focused down by Soccer up above.
Yeah, Vault was there, but we also saw, of course, Cleanse helping out. Divine Shield used on Zeratul. Judgment against him, and he's dead. So is Meriton. Stray from Azul's in the backline to zone the rest of Team Roccat, but they do not care at all. They eat the damage and just turn it around against Twisted Fuzion, dropping 4 heroes now in this fight. Great play by Roccat, and they curse Team Twisted Fuzion. Great position for them now to be in, to take level 13, to drop another fort, and get a few more camps on the map.
4 for 0 and a curse. They already have mercenaries in the top lane, but Johanna able to de-push the mid lane super quickly, and bot lane is already pushed up to the keep towers.
And it kind of comes a bit down to what we've been saying during the draft, that Nazebo is just not working out for them the way that they were hoping for. With a Tyrande, you could have tried in the early game to get your kills in, you could have tried to go for a bit more bursty damage, or with an alternative second warrior, especially of course in Arthur's, you would have had a much more tankier front line, since Muradin is struggling. He's struggling a lot, he's focused down so fast and always has to jump away. If you have a second warrior with you instead of that Nazebo, then you have a tankier front line. You have also another lockdown that you can use after the Storm Bolt. So let's see if maybe in the late game Nazebo can come through, but for now they are starting to fall behind quite a bit.
Yeah, Soccer going to back away from this. He doesn't have vision of a lot of people, so he's not going to take any kind of unnecessary risk. Just going to leave that for Twisted Fuzion to de-push and go to rejoin his team.
We have level 13 talents now for Roccat, of course, with an imposing will. We have very defensive talents here, with the exception of maybe Johanna, who went, of course, into the Burning Rage here, so extra damage instead of using a protective shield, spell shield, which would have been an option for her. So right now we are seeing double ice block. We have also one shield on Zagara. Zagara apparently really afraid of that Zeratul and just saying, hey, I don't want to go into my Hunter-Killer talent just yet. So could have definitely seen her go into the Muralisk in this case.
Yeah, the Spell Shield also going to help against those spiders and the Strafe from Valor and the Hungry Arrow from Valor, in fact.
Yep.
So Hasselhoff's just playing very safe, very passively, and the Hunter Killer on its own does still do a decent amount of damage, but you don't get that increased damage you get from Grooved Spines or the increased duration you get from the Mutalisk. So she has to be way more careful about her positioning and rely on her auto attacks a lot more.
Yeah, so auto attacks here, the giant killer on the side of Vala, the wormhole for Zeratul. We have Uther not with a choice yet on the level 13 talent. Oftentimes you see a shrink ray here if you're up against the melee assassin, and this time it's not the case. You could still use it against Tyrael if you wanted to. We're seeing the Thunder Strike for Muradin and Sprint for Nazebo, so that he can reposition himself during the fights and also get away if he gets ganked.
Uther does pick the Shrink Ray, so yeah, probably going to be using that against the Tyrael, maybe against the Johanna, as it does decrease the radius of that Condemn. That could be pretty nice for them.
Vala going full tryhard mode on that wave up at the top, like vaulting to the left, double arrow coming in comes the multi-shot, and of course she knew from the start that she wanted to go away and be back, and there again, vaulting in there. It makes, of course, a lot of sense. You want to burst these things down, and therefore you are willing to sacrifice the mana, since you expect to go back anyways, but it just looks super funny if you see it there.
Yeah, I must out-micro this minion wave.
Exactly.
The fight.
Pew pew, left, right, dashing to the left, dashing to the right, second arrow in. And I was like, yeah, I took them all down. They didn't stand a chance.
I'm in the Matrix.
Talking about aggression though, we have bot lane here, completely about to be dropped. Roccat with very nice rotation on the map, getting a full kill against the wall. But of course they have one problem against them, that's the boss at the top lane. They themselves have a boss running in against the keep though, and that is what they're aiming for now. They want to have a keep, they know that they have the level 16 talent, they have a huge lead thanks to that, and therefore it's their goal to make sure that they drop at least one of the structures.
Yeah, but they are going to back away from this. Tyrael already heading up to that top lane to grab the tribute, whereas the rest of the team all being back to base to deal with the boss of Twisted Fuzion.
You know, I'm a bit surprised that they actually backed up here. I feel they didn't have to. They have the boss pushing in. Yes, of course, that keep is a danger, but if you have that level 16 talent, that feels like just such a big deal that they could have tried to force down the keep. I don't really think they would have lost their own. The boss was already rather low thanks to the wall, especially with having the Brood expansion now for the double hunter killer. There's so much damage you can dish out. I feel they could have really pushed the advantage, but we've been talking in the last game about playing safe strategies and safe plays. And I suppose if you're behind in the series already, better safe than sorry is a pretty good motto to heed.
Yeah, for that, they may have not got the keep, but they did save their own buildings from taking any extra damage. They got a tribute, and they're able to set up their own easy camp for when the next tribute does spawn. So a pretty nice position, and Sportbilly just defending the easy camp in the bottom lane. He's going to have to ditch that, though, to come help his team. But he's going to be slowed down a little. Here comes everyone.
Exactly. Oh, the wall of zombies! He didn't even release it. Wow. But they get the kill regardless. I mean, there's nothing that you can do in this situation. But of course, it also makes sure that this tribute up at the top lane is not ending up in the hands of Team Twisted Fuzion. Nope, it is Roccat getting tribute number 2.
Twisted Fuzion, though, making the most of the fact that they're all grouped up down here and are just going for the Roccat fort. Roccat not even moving to defend this. They know it will go down too quick, and instead just leaving Zagara up top to counter push that lane, and the rest of them taking the bruiser camps. But Twisted Fuzion were thinking about pushing further, but Roccat are now rotating to a position where they can deal with that.
I mean, Twisted Fuzion was in a 5 versus 4 situation, so Roccat didn't really want to fight here. We have on level 16, by the way, now also Tumble taken. So this is going to be pretty cool, especially since, of course, that means a lot more damage. You can go for talents like, well, simply adding Blood for Blood here for sustain, but if you have the mana pool and you make sure that you go into a battle with full mana and you just like get out the damage as fast as you can, Tumble and the double wall basically is going to give you a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, exactly. We are now seeing Twisted Fuzion attempting to move into this tribute area. Zombie Wall from Weaver forces Chris out of that bush, so he doesn't have that easily defendable position anymore, but he is still able to deny the tribute. There's the stun onto Jaina, though.
Yeah, they are moving in immediately. Avatar already used, but the Blizzard goes down at the same time in the backline. There's the Void Prism trapping 3. Sportbilly tries to go in, but gets blocked. Jaina's ass is a bit too fat, and therefore he doesn't get into the bubble, but he escapes for now, and the kill against Zeratul. Wow, they turn it around against Murden, who gets Divine Shielded. Weezer is eating the Blizzard, and more than that, since Tyrael is jumping in for the kill. Uther also eliminated, and what looked like a battle that Twisted Fuzion is going to win turns around. No, Weightbridge this time is going to die.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything this time. He finally goes down, and so will Jubaro. He's in the wrong neighborhood. He gets taken down. And now we're going to see Roccat finally move into the bot lane and take that fort. And they have mercenaries in every other lane.
They can end the game.
Yeah,
they are going to try. I mean, like right now you have that curse, you go for the core, there's 4 heroes down, only Vala surviving, and even with that triple arrow that she can get, thanks to the level 16 and level 7 talent, there's just no way that you have enough damage to really protect this. This is going to be the tie in the series. Roccat is not going to allow this to be turned around. They get the damage in, and therefore the victory on Cursed Hollow. Great play by them, and we are going to see a third game between Roccat and Twisted Fuzion at the road to BlizzCon Qualifier. Alright, we're going the full distance here apparently. Roccat coming back into the series. They win the second map, tied up, and now we have Haunted Mines as game number 3. This is going to be fun. I mean, we started this off with Battlefield of Eternity, now we're jumping into Haunted Mines, so very cool maps that we're seeing from the two teams. We have a Sylvanas now also being played together with a Johanna and a Leoric for Twisted Fuzion, so a lot of push potential here on the side of the Greek team, but they're also having, again, a couple of Suns available. With a Tyrande, with an Uther, so they really prefer this setup now on this map in particular, and we all know that Haunted Mines is very much about the early game, especially since of course you can get a bit of a snowball going for you. If you once gather that momentum, there's a good chance that you will be able to carry that into the late game. Roccat, they won the last map, and now they are going to try to carry that momentum into game number 3 so that they win 2 in a row and take down Twisted Fuzion to advance to the next round of the Europe qualifier here. But guys, let's find out which team takes it. Is it going to be Twisted Fuzion? Is it going to be Roccat? Haunted Mines is the map where we'll find out which team advances. So let's jump right into it. Game number 3 in the series. We are on Haunted Mines. This is the last game between Roccat and Twisted Fuzion, and the winner advances to the round of 16. The loser is out of the second qualifier for Road to BlizzCon. 25,000 and qualification spots are on the line in this one. To the left side of the map, it is Team Roccat with Soccer on Arthurs. We have Sport Billy on Muradin. Chris is playing Nazebo. We have Hazorps on Jaina, and Malfurion played by Shadowmar. To the right side of the map, a hero that we have not seen in quite some time, Azules on Sylvanas. Sylvanas these days played against an Illidan counter or occasionally on Haunted Mines still. Zafman on Tyrande. Waybridge, of course, on his Uther again. What else? Weezer on Leoric, and Jumaru on Johanna. Last game of the series. I'm Khaldor, with me is Thatcher, and we're going to find out together which team is going to advance to the next round of the tournament.
Looking at the level 1 talents, we can see the standard reverberation coming in from Muradin, as he... Well, Sylvanas, a lot of her damage does come from abilities, but she does still have to auto-attack to get a good amount of it off, so reverberation on her can be good. And Arthur's going with the Frost Presence, lowering his root cooldown by 3 seconds.
Exactly, so again an adjustment. Oftentimes it is block that is being used for Arthurs. We see Regeneration Master as well, so if you're a player that is used to using Regeneration Master, you will change that on this map, since it's also a very bad map for globe stacking talents, where you will spend a lot of time in those mines trying to gather skulls, and up at the top we only have 2 lanes, so right now we have a 4 versus 4 at the top lane, and you can really see that it is the lane, the golem lane of the red team that is being pushed now, and the reason is Sylvanas, because she is tipping the scales in favor of the Greek team here.
Yeah, she's trying to push it back, but right now, not actually doing so well. We're seeing Uther getting locked down very heavily, but Waybridge, once again, being Waybridge, turning it around, and they're able to push back Roccat here. I'm going to buy Waybridge a skin at this point. He cannot be this good at Uther and not own a skin.
Well, he's rocking a Hearthstone mount for him, but yeah, he definitely needs one. He needs that new skin that Blizzard is going to release, because that looks...
the Judgment one.
Exactly, that looks absolutely epic. And he is Justice incarnated. Screw Tyrael, like, that's the real Justice right there. We have known that ever since Battlefield of Eternity in the last one. For now, of course, early game, that's where the aggression is at. By the way, we have with Wind taken over a potential Barb Shot here. But the 4 versus 4 up at the top lane is still raging, and the mines are opening up now.
Roccat get into the mines first, looking to possibly set up a trap, because Twisted Fuzion all hanging around that entrance. They're now just sneaking in one at a time. Waybridge gonna find Soccer, forcing Soccer to back up, because Soccer doesn't know how many are behind him.
That doesn't really matter. Soccer just sees Waybridge and is just like, screw that. I'm not going to go up against him. One-on-one against the support, not going to happen.
Sport Billy having to back up here. We're going to see the Zebo getting dropped low. He gets taken down, but we see Tyrande falling in exchange. That Blizzard dropping a lot of damage onto the 2 tanks of Twisted Fuzion. Sport Billy needs to be very careful. That's not a good position to be in. Dwarf Toss has been used, throws out a Stormbolt to give himself an escape, but here comes Jumaru with the Condemn.
Yeah, they go for Sport Billy, and they have the Ranger's ambush taken, so you have more Withering Fire charges after the wave, and that helped Azules on his Sylvana to put more damage onto Muradin and take him down. So it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Twisted Fuzion, and they get Soccer now as well. 3 kills for them, well played, and they're trying to go for Shadowmar with Weezer using the Wraith Walk and attempting to slow him down. And guess who? Yep, we have Azules and the rest of the team already on the way. Waybridge doesn't care about a puny Malfurion, he wants a challenge, and that's why he goes straight for the boss.
Ranger's ambush coming in from the Sylvana, so that when he uses that Haunting Wave, it refills his Withering Fire, and this actually does allow him a pretty large amount of damage.
The other talent you oftentimes see is in Venom, of course, and well, And Venom got nerfed in the last patch, and it's not really all that good anymore. It was already one of those talents where a few teams said, well, do we really want to use it before that? But now the duration got doubled, and that of course means that the damage per second is much lower now, so you can more easily heal that out. Snowstorm taken again, Malfurion going for a Loon's Grace to give him the extra range on all of his basic abilities, so he can stay safe in the backline. We're having, by the way, now the camps taken, and of course with the first golems it's really important that you time them perfectly. You want to wait until these golems of your opponent are roughly passing the fort, and then you just take them and they will help you with the defense. This is why we have both of the teams currently waiting here. So this is like the perfect way to run it. Over here you can see that golem is passing the fort, so now any second Leoric is going to move in and take it and make sure that they claim the camp. Malfurion is already doing that to the left side of the map, and here they are.
Yeah, both teams timing that pretty much perfectly, so they should be good for the defense. But the much bigger golem, well, not much bigger, the slightly bigger golem for Roccat is only being defended by one person, as they are defending the smaller golem of Twisted Fuzion with 4 people.
They have to. Sylvanas is there, and with that Black Arrow trade in the Shadow Dagger, you can disable those towers, so you always have to defend against that Sylvanas, and she is pushing hard right now. Already the wall is gone, and they are starting to go straight for the fort itself. Both of the teams are on level 7. We have one mule though, 2 mules, one on Tyrande and the other one on a Zeebo, giving up Gitbin.
Yeah, and we've been seeing this a little bit more, especially that's going to be especially interesting as well, seeing as Gibbon is being changed in the coming up patch. Condemned lands on 3 members, but the Lunar Flare follow-up does not land up. Remorseless on the Sylvanas here, just continuing to go for damage, and with those extra Withering Fire stacks, she is going to be doing a very decent amount of damage there.
Yeah, Arthas was actually helping the golem at the bot lane to drop that fort, so this is a great situation for Roccat now. They might be a bit behind in experience and also in kills, but it doesn't matter too much. The golem position is much better for them. They were able to save their own fort at the top lane. They can heal it up with Mule now, repair it, whereas at the bot lane you can see that this structure was already dropped thanks to earlier Roccat taking down the entire wall before the golem even came into play. So that leaves them with a very solid position for the next mines.
Doka and his team coming down to the spot lane to deal with these Siege Giants. Muradin did go for a hybrid build, so with the Piercing Bolt Sledgehammer, able to do a lot of damage to that easy camp.
And in the mid lane there's of course still that Bruiser camp that both teams are currently looking at, but they don't really want to commit. It's just too risky to really take it. You are very likely to be scouted out and then being attacked at the wrong time. Could drop 1 or 2 heroes of your team, and that of course would relate or lead right into the structure being dropped if your opponent is trying to capitalize on it. But it's still there, and it is a point of attention for both of the teams, so they are still trying to make sure that the other team is not attempting to take it.
Owl coming out from Tyrande, checking to see how many people are defending this bot fort. They cleared away, but Roccat starting on that camp straight away, as they know that Distribution are in the bot lane. Johanna, only one in this circle. In comes Leoric, though, to try and tank it up. Arthas being dropped low. Can he escape? No, because Azul comes in with that Haunting Wave and does huge amounts of damage to drop him, and the camp is stolen by Twisted Fuzion.
And this, kids, is why you should never go for the camp if you're not 100% certain that you're gonna get it. Because now we have a hero down for Roccat, and they lost the camp as well. Exactly the reason why it's always risky to move into it. So we have nearly level 10 for Twisted Fuzion because of it, so this backfired really, really badly for Roccat. They lost a level advantage, they are now behind. The heroic ability drops just in time for Twisted Fuzion so that they can head with level 10 into the mines. They drop the keep, they drop another hero. They are in an amazing spot right now. That was a very bad move for Roccat.
However, Roccat are getting a lot of skulls here as they were able to sneak into the mines. They give up Jada for it though, and if they're not careful, they're going to give up quite a few more heroes. 43 skulls already, and we see Malfurion up the top there getting a couple more, but now Roccat are just like, yeah, we're done here, and they're just going to leave. 47 is a very respectable amount.
Yep, they have 47, but they lost the fort at the top lane. Now they're trying to put some pressure onto the bot lane, and that is a smart move by them. They have finally their heroic ability with the Water Elemental and also the Gargantuan. Avatar, Tranquility, Arthas might go into Syndragosa here. Army of the Dead is a great talent, but he might not really need to have that additional sustain. They go for the wall at the bot lane. There has to be an answer from Twisted Fuzion, and they are rotating over already.
Yeah, they're going to try and defend this. The Condemn doesn't land other than on zombies, which don't die, so they just start punching Johanna a little bit more, but she tanks it all up.
Yeah, so at this point we're having both of the teams with very even golems. There's still that position where we have, for both of them now, also the fort drop. Again, it's of course those 2 Siege Giants that you want to aim for, and that's what they're currently doing here. The longer Arthas waits with his next talent, the more likely it is that he really wants to go into Sindragosa. The only reason why he would probably go for the Army of the Dead at this point is that he is being attacked and feels it's the only chance that he has to stay alive. And there he is. He takes the talent. It is Sindragosa, and that is of course going to help them with engages later on in the game.
Yeah, so that is going to be very nice. They can dive, but in fact he's going to use it here, not for an engage, but because it does disable buildings. And that's beautiful, because it gives this golem so much more freedom. Mule has been dropped, though, to try and defend this, and a huge amount of damage coming out from Twisted Fuzion to kill this off.
I feel in this case it doesn't really do anything for them, but if Twisted Fuzion wouldn't have been there with 4 heroes to defend this golem, I think they would have had a very good shot at taking it down, especially if Arthas would have committed to it. So the way that it played out, it didn't do too much, but I really like the idea that Soccer pursued here. Like, that was a pretty smart move, and it could actually have worked even better than it did.
Yeah, what it did is it bought Roccat time, because they were able to... the Sindragosa is going to be off cooldown in about 30 seconds now, and they were able to get that easy camp and defend their top lane without threat of Twisted Fuzion for that entire time.
One of the things that's very important on Haunted Mines, which is a bit different on other maps, well, I guess we'll talk about this later, because both the teams suddenly decided it's a great idea to start fighting here, and especially Arthas is getting the blunt force of this attack. He's down, Hazops is low, and they turn this around. Divine Shield on Johanna, keeping her alive, as Twisted Fuzion is moving in again.
They're able to take down Arthas and are now backing up. Hazops was dropped super low there by Weaver, who just rolled in with that March of the Black King, and Twisted Fuzion looking super solid again. They're moving up to the top lane to take care of this Siege Giant camp.
One of the things that's really important on this map, which I want to talk about a bit earlier already, which is different from other maps, is always the golem position, your own boss position. Currently we have both of them in front of those keeps, but you want to have them in a really good spot, and you want to try to push this golem lane in as much as you can, because that means that at some point later on in the game, the golems or the bosses are directly attacking the core, and a good golem, like a good move in the mines, even just sneaking skulls away from your opponent, might lead to a victory because of that. So it's really crucial, and it's one of the things where a team can really be on the same level, on the same amount of kills, same amount of experience, but far ahead in the game if they have a better ball golem position on their own side.
Yeah, so for now though, Twisted Fuzion taking the Bruiser camp. Roccat already positioned in the mines. They want to try and get as many skulls as they can, but Twisted Fuzion are already in the mines. So Roccat not going to be able to just gather and leave as they would like to. Instead, they have to group up and they have to team fight.
Both of the teams with level 13 talents right now. A lot of damage thanks to Burning Rage for Twisted Fuzion. They're moving in with it. Here comes Sindragosa. They're trying to engage. Sport Billy is extremely low and he is dead. And a great silence hitting 3 heroes. Now it's Jaina in trouble. Jomaro with a Condemn is trying to follow it up as the rest of Twisted Fuzion are attempting to go for the kill, and it looks like they are going to get it here. Oh yeah, this is going to be it. Azul's has the evasive fire. They are way too fast, and Jaina is not going to survive this onslaught.
Yeah, Jaina does go down. Arthas is gathering 6 goals while this is going on there. Shadowmare and Chris are going to have to back out. Root does land on Leoric, but it's not going to be enough. Stun lock on the Zebo takes him down. That may have been a bit premature there, Weezer.
Yeah.
March of the Black King.
March of the Black King just showing off a bit, not actually hitting anything. But it was a very beautiful march, so he did well there. It just didn't hit anything. Looked good,
He
though.
sure showed that wall who was boss.
Exactly. The wall was very impressed, or at least so I've been told.
Yeah, and I think there's some bats in here. They may have seen it as well. But
The bats is like one bat like poking the other. Did you see that? Oh my god, that was good.
oh dear, for now, Twisted Fuzion all going to go back to base so that they are ready to defend
wait.
the 38 Skull Golem.
Haunted Mines, aka the Bat Cave, confirmed.
Weren't we talking about Uther getting a bat skin earlier?
Waybridge is actually Batman.
Well, he is getting a Justice skin, or a Judgment skin.
Yeah, true.
Justice.
So guys, again, 62 skulls right now versus 38. You have a Sylvanas in your midst anyways. Sylvanas basically... The cool thing about Sylvanas and her trait is that if she disables towers and forts, your own golem, even if weaker, can easily outpush a stronger golem. In this case, their golem is stronger, so Sylvanas is going to get even more pressure to this push, and they are using this to go straight for the keep here. So they feel comfortable that they can take down the keep, and it's looking extremely good for Twisted Fuzion to make that happen.
In the bot lane, Arthas once again Sindragosa the keep so that their golem can actually push pretty effectively here without any contention, but he still needs to be back and was able to try and defend, but they're going to 100% lose this keep.
Are they gonna go for core though? They have an additional talent. They're on 16. There's the silence, a great silence, and they move in immediately. March of the Black King already dropping Muradin. This time Guiza hitting stuff and hitting it hard. They move in against the Zebra, but he escapes for now. But that boss is still on half health and is going ham on the core now.
Roccat trying to do anything they can to defend this. Divine Shield used on Sylvanas as she drops all of her damage right now. Tyrande is finally going to go down, so does Uther, but the boss is still strong. Leoric and Johanna are still strong, and somehow Sylvanas is still up, and GG.
Game over. Twisted Fuzion, they take down Roccat and advance to the next round of the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier. What a game. Congratulations, really well played. And the underdog, they claim victory. Twisted Fuzion, they drop Roccat out of the bracket. Very well played here. Take Haunted Mines, and therefore they win on Battlefield on Eternity. They lose on Curse Toll, but on the last map, Haunted Mines, they secure themselves a victory and also a spot in the round of 8. Really well played here by Twisted Fuzion. Congratulations to them. Definitely a big win for them. Roccat, they are already qualified. They were able to secure themselves a spot for Prague in the last qualifier, but of course there was a lot of money on the line here in this tournament as well, and that's now all gone. Not in reach anymore. Roccat will have to give it a shot in the third qualifier when there's even more prize money on the line. But yeah, for now, Twisted Fuzion advancing through the bracket. I'm very curious to see how they can do in the next round, which we're of course going to have on the channel as well. It was a fun game. It was also a lot of fun to commentate it. Guys, if you think that the series was worth it, then definitely give the video a thumbs up on YouTube, because we are going to see way more Road of BlizzCon tournaments here. The Road to BlizzCon is a stony one, but the teams are currently doing their best. There's only 2 spots for Europe in general, but first of all, it's the big final in Prague that we're aiming for, with that second qualifier, with the third qualifier afterwards. And well, for now, we have at least Twisted Fuzion advancing through the bracket. They are not getting a ticket for Prague just yet, but they are going to do their best. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, subscribe to Khaldor TV, and guys, I'm going to see you tomorrow probably with more Road to BlizzCon action here on the channel. So see you then with more Heroes of the Storm.